Alright, ladies and gentlemen, it is here. It is time. And you guys know what I'm talking about. The best waifu deck is here. And of course, I'm talking about Eva. Now, this is my favorite deck of all time. I love playing this deck because it does everything I wanted. It deck thins, it basically have attack pressure, it hits hard, it puts fear, in your opponent's hearts. Like when you flip this Grade Zero, okay, their game plan is, oh shoot, I'm gonna have to mulligan to fight against this beast of a deck. So, what makes this deck so good? Other than, putting the fear of God into your opponent's soul. It can play the long game and it can also rush. It does everything. It does everything. You could get cards in hand, like crazy. It deck thins, like I said, so your possibility of hitting triggers is even higher, especially OT. And I am convinced that this will be the deck that I'm taking to BCS. So watch out for a lot of EVA's players, because it is time for them to shine. We've been hiding in the shadows for so long. Now it's time for us to stand up and beat all your asses. We hand out enough L's. Now we need to take them back. All right. So of course, Grade 0 Eva. Go second. You draw. Grade 2. When you ride on top of the Grade 0, you search your deck for a order card a research card. You add it to your hand. Grade 2 is the same. So pretty much in I'll say like in 2 turns. If you're going second, that's 1 card out of your deck. If you're going, and then after that, you ride the Grade 1, that's a second card out of your deck. And then, boom, that's 3 cards out of your deck in 2 turns, which is insane. And then, of course, the Grade 3. The Grade 3 is even better because the Grade 3 skill, it says you counterblast 1, you search. Oh, no, you don't search. You look up the top cards of your deck, depends on how many research you have. On the 3rd turn, you should have 3 on the field. At least 3. Okay? You should have 3 on the field. So you check the top 3 cards. You add 1 card to your hand. You don't have to show it to your opponent. You add 1 card to your hand, and you put the rest on the bottom of the deck in any order. And you don't have to show your card, the cards you add to your opponent. You don't have to show them that. Okay? So that makes it good because it plays a little mind games in your opponent's head. It's like, oh man, what did he add? Like did he add triggers for more defense, or did he add something else that I'm not expecting? So that's just one. That's the other one. So that's another card out of your deck. The second skill is when she attacks. Okay, when she attacks, counterblast 1, soul blast 1. You search your deck for a Grade 3 Obfuscate and call it to the rear guard, and it gains that card gains 10k and a crit from his own skill, not her skill, his own skill. And not only that, when you use the skill to counterblast 1 and chuck the top cards, she gains 5k, so she's an 18k attacker alone, and 18 is a kind of like an awkward number, So if they would have guarded, they would have to throw down like a 15k guard, or a draw trigger that becomes 10k, or a special heal trigger that gains 15k when the card gets an addition, when the card get a crit other than a trigger effect, because those are also 10k cards. So pretty much to guard against her is pretty awkward, because it's 18. You can't just throw it on 5 because that won't work. So, yes, Eva, really, really good. Now, first and foremost, I actually want to get the most important cards out of the way first. And people that plays Eva knows what I'm talking about. And I'm talking about the research orders. This is the grade 2 research order. On place, you draw a card and you discard a card. But then if you have, I think 3 or more, right? Yeah, if you have 3 or more research cards onto the field, you can Soul Blast 1 and choose one of your opponent's rear guard and bind it, which is very strong indeed, because there's no deck right now that have the binding abilities. So this card is really strong against a lot of decks, because you pretty much just get rid of their important pieces. You play against Jiva, if they don't use bills, guess what? Just bind the damn Jewel Sword, and all 3 of those cards are gone. The Prayer Dragons, the Trick Stars, etc. The only thing that it cannot bind is bills and Trickstar alone, because Trickstar alone says it is unaffected by skills. So that's the sad part. But other than that, it pretty much binds everything. Play against PBL, Blinded Blaster Dark. Play against Kari. I don't know much about Kari, but you just bind whatever is important to them. You play against a mirror match, an Obfuscate, you bind their Obfuscate. No question. If they decide to just call Obfuscate first, you just bind it and they can't get it back. So against a mirror match, you have to play a longer game, because nobody wants to throw down their Obfuscate to get binded until they know they're going to finish the game. You play against Prison, you bind the grade 1 Robos, the one that's like Counter Blast 1, Soul Blast 1, Prison a card, and you have 3 or more, draw a card. You bind that fool, because everything else on your opponent's fields per Prison, it is vanilla, except for that one card, because that one card is pretty dumb, I'm not gonna lie. So, very important, super important, 4 of, have to be, no debate about it, have to be. And then, the other 4 of, it is the grade 1 Researcher. This is the best card in the freaking deck. 1, because it doesn't have skills like binding, just like grade 2, so you have to like choose when you want to play it. This, you could just throw it out willy-nilly, because it doesn't have any stuff like that, so you're not wasting any skills, right? And her other skill is, well, she has 1 skill, whereas at main phase, you put her into the soul, you grab an Obfuscate from the drop, you add it to your hand, and you countercharge 1. So pretty much you get a soul, you get a countercharge, you get an Obfuscate. That means you get to proc up Eva's skill, which is really good. So use it wisely, because you do only have 4 of her. Honestly, nowadays I don't really think that you're gonna have to go through 4 to do what you need to do. At most you need is like 2 or something. So, and she has another skill where your Obfuscate cannot be retired. So if you're playing against decks that retires, like PBO, Overlord, Jiva, because of the Bram, they can't touch it. But they could get Prison, which I don't mind. You can prison my Obfuscate, that's fine, that's helping me. Thank you for helping me activate Obfuscate skill. So, if it's Prison, you welcome it. You welcome the Prison. But anything else, they can't touch it. They can't, except for Burrow Magnus. Burrow Magnus puts everything to the soul, so that's kind of bad. But other than that, you know, this card does its job. Best card in the deck must be 4 of. I tried playing 3 of, because at that time I only had 3, and it didn't play the way I wanted. But then when I got the 4th copy, oh boy, I put the fear of God in people. So 4 of, must have, no question about it. Now for the triggers. Triggers. Yes, this is triggers. Of course, OT, very important. Best OT in the game, in my opinion. I do run 3 fronts, because I tried playing with draws and it didn't do as well as I wanted. The front is better, just because you're swinging with the rear, and then you swing in the Van caught Obfuscate out, and boom. So basically now you have 2 additional rear guards to attack with. So the front makes sense in this deck for me, and it's working very well. It is working very well. I don't like the draws, to be honest with you. Yes, draw gets you cards, but do you really need it with all the skills that you're using? And then for the heals, I'm playing splits heals. So these are just vanilla heroes. These are normal heals. These are the heals that gets plus 15 if your opponent's unit is attacking with additional crits, other than trigger effects. So pretty much obfuscate, prison, any units that get an additional crit that is not from a trigger effect, it gets plus 15k, which is really good against mirror matches like obfuscate, or against prison, and against any other deck that gets crit. Oh, Youthberg, that's right, Youthberg. So really good, really strong. It helps you survive, which is great because you want to survive. You want to play the long game with this deck. And then I play 8 crits, because you need them in this game, or you need them in this deck to put more fear into your opponent, because they're most likely not going to guard your Vanguard. Let's be real. They most likely not going to guard it because obfuscate is a thing. But if they do, that's fine. That's let them do it. Let them lose cards in hand. That's fine for me. So you want to have more chance of hitting crits to kill your opponent more than anything, and this 8 crits will do that. I actually played this deck against a buddy of mine who was playing PBO. He was guarding against Viva, you know, for in the beginning, but then he realized, he's like, you know what, obfuscate is such a problem. I'm gonna save my cards in my hand and guard against that. So I think when I attacked him with Van, he's like, you know what, no guard. And then you know what I did? First check, crit power. Second check, crit power, and he dies because he's too afraid of obfuscate to guard against it. So 8 crits really works, really helps, non-debatable. You don't want to run 8 you don't want to run 7 or less, because 8 crits is so much more like useful in this deck than anything else. And then after that, we got the grade 1s. Grade 1s have some pretty important cards. So first we have the PGs, self-explanatory PGs, and then we have the elemental PGs because of decks such as Jewel Sword equips, and Flagberg, and what else can you guard restrict? I think that's it, right? Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's it. So just guard restricts cards that literally says that you cannot, like, guard restricts pretty much. Oh yeah, the grade 3 Youthberg, the one that has guard restrict. So these will help against those. If you're not fighting against those, then you know this is just a normal PG in out of all of them. And this is a grade 3 deck, so of course you could run the elemental PGs. So, and then I run 3 of the monsters. This card saved my ass a couple of times. At first I only run 2, but then I feel like, you know what, the meta changed so much. Sometimes people actually do like to play the long game now, and I don't want to play the game, and I don't want to be stuck with cards that I need but it end up being in the drop. So his skill is when he's placed, you choose a card and put it into the bottom of your deck, a non-trigger card. But if you put a grade 3 on the bottom of the deck, you Soul Blast 3 and you draw 1 card. Basically, it's a way to return your obfuscate from the drop to the bottom of the deck. Like I said, at first I played at 2. I don't feel like it's good enough, so I throw down a 3rd one to make it even better, to make me even play more of the long game that I need to. If I have to, then yeah, I'll do it. And the draw power is really good. The Soul Blasting 3 to draw a card is not mandatory. You don't have to. But honestly, I think I'm pretty sure like you should draw, because I do. I Soul Blast 3 and draw. But yeah, this at least allows you to play the long game even longer than your opponent. So if you want to deck him out, sure, go ahead. And then this is the most important grade 1 in the deck, is the Bone Mine. So Bone Mine pretty much is at the end of he boost, you put into the soul, you counter charge 1. So pretty much this card alone is paying for the Eva's cost, right? Because Eva is counter blast 1 and soul blast 1. So this one is counter charge and put into the soul. So you're getting 2 out of 1. So pretty much this card alone pays for Eva's cost, which is really important. So this is a 4 of must be a 4 of. Like, you cannot change that. And then move on to the grade 2s. I only play 1 grade 2 in this deck, and that is the Combined Rush. Combined Rust is such a good pressure card because you could do this literally on turn 1. You could do this literally on turn... No, yeah. You could literally do this on turn 1 if you want to, because it costs from the drop. It doesn't call from your hand, so it doesn't stop you from the grade of your Vanguard. So what he does is when a set order hits the field, you counterblast 1, you call him from the drop. And if your Vanguard is grade 3 or more, if you're attacking a grade 3 or more Vanguard, and if you have 2 or more set orders, he gets plus 10k, so he's a 20k attacker. So what would normally people would do, when I say normally people, I mean me, I would hard, I would hard mulligan if until I have him in my hand. Him and any of the orders, any of the set orders in my hand. So on grade 1, I'll discard him, right? Ride the grade 1 Rhine line of Eva. That card skill, search for a set order. So I would search for the grade 1 set, play it, skill, counterblast 1, and call him out if you have the damage. If you have, so pretty much it's a what do you call it? It's like on turn 2. Wait, did I mess up? Hold on. No, never mind. You can't even do it turn 1. I lost my mind for a second. I was already thinking, you don't get damage. So okay, my bad. You do this on turn 2. You do this on your turn 2 ride. I don't know what the hell I was thinking. So pretty much, you take the damage when they swing at you if you go first, and then after that, they'll swing at you unless they want to deny you. Wait, I mean, what are they gonna deny? Deny damaging you because you can't really do much, right? So if they do attack you, you'll take it, and then you will just call them out, call this baby out, and swing for 10, and with Bubble Mine 18, and that will put pressure into them. The goal of this deck is to get your opponent to 3 to 4 damage, you know, as soon as possible, and after that, just start smacking them with Obfuscate and Eva, and then of course your Persona ride, your Eva Persona rides. Self-explanatory. Persona rides is there just for the power and draw, and then of course your pressure, your killer, the Knights, Obfuscate. When you have 2 or more research order, no, I think if you have 2 or more set order, it doesn't even have to be research. But when you have 2 or more set orders, it gets plus 10, so he's a 23k. If you have 3 or more research orders, it gains crit, and not only that, it has intercept. It has a 10k intercept. It has anti-intercept and guard power, so you can literally just guard him from your hand, which is kind of funny. And so this guy will be your guard, and then once you use him to intercept, he goes to the drop. From there, you could use the grade 1 skill, or the grade 1 research skill, or you could use the grade 1 monster skill, this one. And then you can return Obfuscate back to your deck, and then you continue playing until your opponent dies. So that is your goal of the deck. You basically just tempo the deck super thin, so you could get all these. When it comes to drive shots, you get to all these out, and then you kill your opponent. You put the Fear of God in them. So the thing is, the troubling thing is like these research, these 4 cards right here. You don't know how much obstacle I have to go through to get these. I literally have to go to multiple shop challenges and hopefully to pull them out, okay? And if I didn't pull them out, and if somebody did, then if that person don't need it, then I will offer them a price for it. I think one time the highest I went was 50, you know? Even though like my youth perk video, I said like the maximum cost for this card is literally 30. But, you know, this card is so hard to pull, and everybody is so desperate for it. The guy literally told me, like, you know what, if you give me 50, I'll give it to you. I was like, 50 is a very steep price. So what happened is I told him I made a deal. So before, I don't have any of these foils, right? All these are base rarity. They're not foils. They're nothing. So I made a deal with him. I was like, okay, I'll give you 50 for the cart, and you have to give me the foil ride lines for Eva, right? So he was like, all right, cool. I made a bet. I made a deal with him, so that's what I did. So I did 50 for one, and the ride line. And then yesterday, I was actually lucky. Yesterday, I went to a card shop called Card Arena, and they have their tournament over there. So I paid my $5. I paid my dues, and I got my packs. And there it is. I was like, I literally screamed out the shop. I was like, my deck is finally finished. Like, even the shop owner was like, did you pull out a foil? I was like, no, I wish I did. He was like, if you pull out a foil, man, I would have bought that from you, and I will give you the original base rarity for the foil. I was like, damn, really? The foil is really that important? So if I would pull out the foil, I would have made like a lot of money, and I would have gotten like my fourth copy regardless, because I don't care about rarities and stuff. I really don't. But yes, I have to go through a lot of shit just to finish my playset. So this card is very hard to pull. From experience, this card is super hard to pull. Like, if you buy, what? Let's say you enter 18 tournaments, right? 18. I'm talking about 18 tournaments. You probably pull out one. No kidding. You will probably pull out one if you enter 18 tournaments. So, if any other EVA players out there that is planning to play EVA on BCS, please do get this card. Not for $100 worth. Don't get me wrong. Like, you should not spend $100 for it. Don't do it. Do not do it. You know, because that is not a smart. That's not a smart choice. That's not a smart. That is not smart to do. But yes, you need this. A playset, which is very hard and difficult. I'm sorry to say, but yeah, it is true. It is true. I think other than Youthberg, Eva is the second most expensive deck to build now, just because of this card alone. And yeah, just because of this card alone, the deck is extremely expensive to make. So this is my Eva deck, and now I gonna show you what is the most optimal hand that you want on the beginning of the game, right? So, like I said, oh, where's my thingy? Oh, that's it. So, like I said from the very beginning when I first showed Boba Mine, your most important card should be one of the research order. If you don't have one of your research order, hard mulligan for it, please. If you don't have any of your research, throw everything back and draw 5 more cards to get your research. The second most important card, Bubble Mine, because this allows you to play aggro very early. Okay, now let's say if you have 1 research, you have 1 Bubble Mine. That's perfect, cool. Then your third best card, Bubble Mine, because this, like I said, allows you to go aggro early. That's your third, and then after that, it should be, where is that? Do I have it? It should be your PGs. Depends on what deck you're playing. Your PGs, right? And then, and only then, when you have your pieces, your Persona Ride. So for this deck, Persona Ride is not really that important. So these 2 alone, actually no, hold on, where's the other one? These 3 alone are more important than anything else, okay? You need at least 1 of each of your research, a Bubble Mine, not Bubble Mine, a Combined Rush, and Bubble Mine, right? And then only then you need this, okay? Like, this is not important. This is not important at all, because Bubble Mine obviously is your ditch target, for your ride line, and from there on, you just play. Okay, so that is your most important hand. There's times literally I have to ditch everything just so I could get at least one of these in my hand, or a combined rush. Like if you on your first draw, right? If you get like, let's say you get this as your hand, right? You get a bubble mine, you get your research order. Great. So if you want to, you can actually return this back and draw more. But if you don't want to, you can return whatever you have in your hand. Like you can have, like, let's say you have, I don't know, your ulti, your Obscudate, yeah, your Obscudate, right? You could obviously you could return these, but also if you have something like this, if you have too many Eva, return them. Just return Evas, dude. Like it's not important to have them in your hand, right? It's not important, so just return them and draw what you need. So this is the deck for Eva. It is very fun, very powerful. I hope you guys enjoy this deck. And I'm not gonna lie, every card in this deck, there's no good replacement. So pretty much this deck has no replacement. Everything in this deck is a key card. Nothing is wasted. Everything has its purpose, and you should utilize everything. Nothing is wasted. There's no dead hand. There is no dead hand. That's why this deck is so consistent, it's so good, it's so powerful. And that's why I'm taking it to BCS, because I really love the way it works. So this is the deck. I hope you guys enjoy it, and I'll see you guys in the next video. So peace.